Michael. Michael, can you hear me?
Big Al, my friend. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Michael, very well. How you doing, my friend?
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you. Let me open the show, and I'm going to get right with you, all right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for stopping back again to another episode of No Cover TV, where we throw the original local and national music in your face, all in your face, up, down, sideways. That's what we do here at No Cover TV. We've been doing this since 1997, and I don't plan on stopping. We're not on TV anymore. We're on a podcast, and I appreciate everybody around the world checking out No Cover TV's podcast because we've had a lot of great guests, a lot of great music of all different genres on the show. To get a hold of me, you can do that a few different ways. You can get a hold of me at nocovertv@yahoo.com. You can drop me a note at No Cover TV at Facebook page. You can also get a hold of me at Jeeper616 at Instagram. Go there. I got like 25,000 some followers there that I'm really promoting the heck out of all of you people. So we're really getting the music out there. Now, we got a great show for you today. I'm mixing it up a little bit today. Today, I have Michael Botte in the house. How you doing, Michael?
Hey, Big Al, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this. Finally, we get to chat.
We get to chat, Michael. Michael Botte Band is in the house. You're out of the Pennsylvania area, aren't you?
Yeah, I was born and raised, outside of Pittsburgh, little small steel town along the Ohio River many years ago. But now, if you could believe it, I live on the other side of the state, outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, you're on the other side. So you're on the east side a little bit there.
I am. I've lived in all different time zones and all of America, different places. But it's funny. I started in one side of the state, and now here I am on the other side of the state.
But you're staying within Pennsylvania. I see that.
Yeah, I guess I came back home after living, like I said, 4 different time zones. I guess I was just jonesing to be back in Pennsylvania, so here I am.
There you go. It sounds like me because I used to live up in the Pocono Mountains, just up north from you there.
Oh, right on, man. I go up there a lot. I'm very fortunate. I have a little slice of heaven up there that we go to most of the summer. I love it up there.
Yeah. Oh, it was beautiful. I was up in Albrightsville up there by the Pocono 500.
Oh, right on. Not too far from Blue Mountain.
You got it. Yeah.
Right yeah, I'm a little bit more north of you. I'm in Arrowhead Lake up by Jack Frost, Big Boulder.
Ah, Big Boulder. Oh, beautiful area. Beautiful area.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, man, that is cool. Cool. A lot to cover, my friend. Boy, you've been a busy guy.
I'm trying, you got to stay busy, stay relevant, stay in front as much as you can. So
that's right.
I'm trying, brother.
Right. Well, let me tell the people a little bit about you now. You're a country rock singer songwriter. You are a country rocker, man. You really do a great job, my friend.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And my producer, if he were here, Bob Beals from Sound Foundation Studios, he would thank you too. And what's funny, Al, is when we started this whole thing, we didn't have a genre. We didn't know what we were really doing at the time. It just, we've landed into this, I guess, alt country rock genre. And hey, man, if that's where we land, then that's where we land. So we're very fortunate to have a home, I guess.
Okay, because I want to take you all over because I want to know about the band, and you're doing the country rock right now. But let's go back in time a little bit here because that's not what you listened to when you were younger, was it?
No, not at all. Not even close.
All right, let's go back to our era, I should say, 78. Let's pull out that first album. What was it?
Oh my gosh, it's funny you should say that. We just had a Facebook exchange. Maybe you were part of that about the first album that, people bought, when they were younger. So for me, the story goes, it was 1978. I was 9 years old and I had saved my allowance up. I don't know how long I saved, but I ended up getting $3. And I was so excited to go to the record store. I believe back then, God, was it called Merry-Go Round? I can't even remember what the stores were called back then. Merry-Go Round, was that one?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was.
Was that it? Okay. I was so excited, and I bought my first album, which was Kiss Love Gun. Now, for anyone who knows the band and knows the artwork from the cover of that album, I will tell you that any parent of a 9-year-old would not be very impressed with that. So that was a very bittersweet day, Al. I bought my album, but it was quickly taken away from me.
So was it mom or dad that took it first?
It was mom. Mom was a little more, kind of involved in that kind of stuff, and mom was not happy. But I will say my older brother did steal it back from me, and I
Okay.
did get to listen to it, and I just rocked out to Kiss Love Gun at 9 years old.
That is awesome. So now you're jamming out a Kiss. Now, when did you decide to pick up a guitar? What was the first instrument you picked up?
That's a good question. I've mentioned this before in other different interviews and speaking to different people that, growing up, my father was very musical. He was a singer, not professionally, but he sang in everything. He was the leader of the church choir, and he was in barbershop quartets. I don't know if you've ever heard barbershop quartets.
Oh
A lot
yeah, I
of
love it.
harmonizing, yeah, harmonizing and a cappella. And he was in all the local theater groups, and some of the big productions he was a part of, like Sound of Music and My Fair Lady and Fiddler on the Roof. So I would go to all these productions out with him, and I was just fixated on the singing and the production. And so, as a kid, I would know some of these songs. And I will tell you this, as a kid, knowing some of the songs to Fiddler on the Roof did not make me the coolest kid on the block. How I could tell you that.
So don't tell me you want to learn whistling or singing this stuff at school.
I just had it in my head. So I'm getting around to your point. So I guess my first instrument, I guess was vocals, my voice, my father's voice, and that was the first thing that I tried. Yeah.
Okay, great. So did you go into choir at all?
Yo, yeah, I was, in the choir and did solos and, sang in, the church and things and all that kind of stuff. It was a blast in high school, and we'd do our little productions, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, it seems like, with your father being in the entertainment business, that you learned early on how to be a performer and entertain. You picked that up early on, and then you went straight into the music. And it sounds like you went into your vocals first. Now, when does the instrument start to play in?
Yeah, so there's a couple different, I guess, instances of instruments. So when I first got married, Al, I was a young guy. I was 25. I was young, and it was a time of change and newness. And my wife and I were living in Madison, Wisconsin. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pick up this thing called guitar. And I went to the local pawn shop and grabbed one for whatever, $50. And Al, I thought, watching TV, I thought that you just pushed a couple strings and just strummed the strings, and these angelic songs would come out of this guitar. My wife and I will tell you that is not how it happened.
Didn't work out that way.
It was awful. I spent 3 months trying to make a sound and, bar chords and all this stuff. And I threw it literally out of a second-story bedroom window, and it shattered. That was my first go of guitar. And then, so fast forward, there's a pot of gold here at the end of the rainbow, right? So fast forward, I'm living in San Francisco, California, Oakland, California. And I meet this traveler kid, this guy named Sebastian Beltrami from Melbourne, Australia. And he's one of my best friends to this day. And he was like, look, man, I'll teach you some stuff. We'll get going. We'll do some things. So he taught me kind of quickly how to play. And then he and I were kind of writing together and playing together. And I thought, oh, man, this might be something. And then he went back to Australia, and I moved on to another band called LFR. We were a garage band that never, ever wanted to leave the garage, Al,
Oh, nice.
So
you were comfortable.
we were comfortable. We were writing our own material and kind of getting good at it. But then, people moved away. I moved away, and, things happened. So, the Michael Botte band, as we know it and how you know me, really didn't get started until COVID quarantine. So it's a kind of a newer project for me.
Well, I was noticing that you started up basically 2020 with your band right there, and previously you were doing other stuff. You were out in California 20 some years ago.
Yep.
And what decided to bring you back home to Pennsylvania?
Yeah. So what's funny is one of my first releases with my producer, New Rising Sun, and I think that might be a song that you've heard. That's kind of all about our deciding to kind of leave the desert and come back east. And so we were living in New Mexico, my wife and I, and just living out in the desert, just loving life. And it's something we always wanted to do and try, in like a little adobe house. And then our daughter was born, and, I'm from Pittsburgh, my wife's from New York, and you know how that goes, man. Everyone's back east, and we're out there in the desert, doing our thing. And so finally we had to make a really big life decision and accept change and accept making a decision that's maybe for the greater good. And we, sold everything and moved back east. So the song New Rising Sun is actually all about that idea and feeling of movement and accepting change. And so, yeah, we had to come back east. So we came back 13 years ago. We've been in Pennsylvania.
So 13 years now. You've been writing for some time now. Some of these songs that you've been writing you've had around for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask that because my next, so New Rising Sun, the song that I think you're familiar with, that was written probably 15, 16 years ago. But I believe the song that we're coming out with in July, so my producer and I have another one in the works. I believe in July, that one was probably written 20 plus years ago. I would imagine. So yeah, I've had things written for a long time, but I just wasn't ready to do anything with them, or play them or record them or like let anybody hear them. I guess it just took a while for that to happen.
Okay, all right. Now you've got the Michael Botte band here. What makes up the band? We've
Yeah,
got
that's a good
you.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to help you out, brother, it's actually pronounced in the Italian pronunciation. My name is Michael Botte. So
But
just to let you know, yeah, it's
I was
all
going
good,
to,
man.
but I didn't know if I wanted to go there.
No, it's all good, man. All good. It's everyone does that. It's all good.
And to
Um,
everyone out there, our listeners, just a quick, Michael, it's Botte. Go to Michael Botte band on all the platforms. So check them out. Now,
correct.
on
Thank you.
to back
Correct.
to
Thank you so much. Yeah. So back to your question. So for right now, I did everything kind of on my own for a while. I actually, when COVID hit, I like a lot of people, you probably remember, there was a lot of time on people's hands, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I remember just in a time of chaos and confusion, I was just kind of desperate for something positive. And my daughter's been a drummer in a couple different bands, and she was like, "Dad, you have time. Like, do you think you might make music or try to make music?" And I thought, "Oh my God, well, why not?"
Yeah.
So that's when I started kind of learning how to record and produce. And I studied and studied. I watched YouTube videos and other producers, and I actually put out my first, self-produced EP in 2020. It was an EP called Radiate, and I was really
Okay.
proud of that output. I really was. I mean, I wasn't a professional. I was still just a guy learning. But man, I was pretty proud of that output until I met my current producer, Bob Beals, again from Sound Foundation Studios, and then I heard what I really could sound like. And I ripped that album off of the universe, out of the universe so fast. It is gone. It is completely ripped out of the universe.
That's something else, because I think I mentioned who produced your CD there. That was awesome. I mean, great job. I mean, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, I have to say, Bob, he and I met no different than how we met, different Facebook groups. He heard some of my demos, a couple years ago, and we were flirting around a little bit with each other, and finally we decided to do something. And he's a 40 plus year music veteran who's been touring, fronting bands, playing in front of thousands of people and managing. And now he finds himself, on the other side of the desk, if you will, producing and mixing and mastering. And so yeah, we found each other and we just really hit it off. And I'm telling you, he knows what I want. He could take my vision and make it, something into something real. And man, I'm so happy I found him. I always joke, like, I don't know what the heck he's doing with me, but I'm going to try to keep him busy for a really long time, Al. I think I can do it.
I hope you do, because you got a great sound, and I'm loving this. Now, I want to get back to a question that you really haven't answered yet, though. You're doing country, but you listen to rock and roll. I know you're incorporating the rock and roll in the country, but what made that decision to go to more of country rock than just rock and roll?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll be honest. I wasn't really too familiar with the country rock genre. It's just, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just something that I just didn't, I guess it kind of missed me. I was listening to everything else and I just kind of missed that. And then I started listening to more and more like, newer, like Keith Urban and people like, Ryan Hurd and people like this younger guy coming out, Louis Hensley, Louis Lee, he goes by. And they're really putting a little bit more of like a hip hop beat, a little bit more of like a heartbeat into that, country theme and the storytelling. And I really liked what they were doing. So I kind of tried to emulate some of their stuff and put a little bit more of like a pop rock beat, heartbeat, I would say, like into like the country theme of storytelling. So it just kind of landed that way. We were told we were leaning into country rock, and the way Bob, plays some things and the way I was writing, I guess just fell into that genre. And hey, man, we're happy to have a home. I'm going to be here hopefully for a while.
I like the sound, and like you said, I like your songs because you're telling a story with each song, and I love it. You got your beginning, your middle, and your ending, and people listen to Michael's music because it kicks butt. We're going to talk about a few of your songs a little bit here because we got a lot to cover still. Now, we talked about what you listen to and how we got to country and stuff here, but now let's talk about how many CDs do we have out? We have the newer one out. Do we
Yeah,
have
so right now releases, I have 8 total releases right now.
8 releases?
Yeah, 4 of which were done all by myself. They're still out there. I didn't rip everything out of the universe. I kept a couple of songs. Uh,
Okay.
but the last 4 are the Bob Beals produced songs, the last 4. And those are really, the 4 that I more promote. The other ones are just more just for me, just to kind of get something out of my head, I guess. But the last 4 produced by Bob are really the ones that I promote.
Okay, great, great. So, do we have a future date on possibly next?
We do. So he and I just finished up, the direction of the song, the arrangement. We're shooting for it'll be mid-July, so we still have a little bit of time. But this song won't have as big of a production, so it'll take a little bit less time to put it all together. It's going to be a little bit more acoustic based, a little bit different than what we've done so far. Not as rocking, a little more acoustic bass and kind of vulnerable and a little bit slower. More singer-songwriter type.
I like that. I like that. Very nice.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
good. Yeah, good deal. It sounds like you're writing a lot of stuff. You're picking up that guitar and you're hitting it hard.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I mean, really, when COVID hit, I mean, I had written songs like we said before, 20 plus years ago, maybe a half dozen, maybe a dozen or more. But when COVID hit, I guess I just had a lot of time and a lot of time to say what I had to say. And COVID affected different people in different ways, and there was ups and downs and sideways. And COVID had its toll on us in different ways. And I had a lot of things in my head that I guess I wanted to say, and I was able to put pen to paper, and then eventually put music to paper, which then creates this thing we call a song. And I probably have 50 songs out in my book right now. So Bob and I have a lot of work to do. A
That's
lot of work.
great. You got your homework cut out for you, don't you, Michael?
Oh, we do, man. I'm going to keep him busy for a long time.
I'm sure he's appreciate that though, right? We'll give Bob props for that.
Yeah, good news for him is I'm pretty sure he's going to go full-time producing pretty soon. He's at that
Very
stage now where
nice.
he just can't keep up. So he's going to go full-time producing. So I can't wait for that to happen. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for both of you. That is
Yeah,
great. Now
thank
tell
you.
everybody out there where they can find your music and stuff.
Yeah, to be honest, it's pretty simple. I mean, everywhere it's, Michael Botte, Botte band, other than Twitter, because the name was too long. It's just M as in Michael, Botte band is my Twitter handle. But everything else, you type in Michael Botte band, Botte, and you'll find me.
Michael Botte Band, that's right. And check them out. I mean, you're going to love this music here because we're going to go over some of the songs here. I'm not going to play them today. People know that. We're going to do a recap. I'm going to do your songs after this and put that up on the podcast. And because what I want to pick your brain now. So you've been doing this for a couple of years. Michael, have you been able to play any of your songs out?
Yeah, a good question. It's because we started this, over COVID, obviously that just wasn't in our head. And to be honest, my producer lives 7 hours from me. So he and I would love to do something, but it's just the time and distance between us. We're one of those virtual bands right now, and that's how we've been doing everything right now is virtually. We record things at different studios. I have a local studio here that I can use and record things, and I send him files, and then we go back and forth with technology and the ease of sending files. So for right now, brother, we are a virtual band, and if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to do that. It just hasn't been in the view so far.
Okay. Well, I know quite a few bands that are doing the things you're doing, putting together the whole package. Then they get out there and then they start
Yep.
building that tree and branching out.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
every band has their own way of doing it. There's no right or wrong way.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, thanks for that. This is just how we're doing it for now, and boy, we're having fun doing it, and we'll see what the future holds.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, do you get to go out when you're not playing or practicing? Do you and your wife get to go out to any of the clubs and check out any of the local acts at all?
Oh, absolutely. There's living in Philly, there's a couple of great venues. And matter of fact, I just saw a band. Actually, I saw a band, and then one of the lead singer of the band has his own solo project, and they're really big in Philly. The band name is called Mo Lauda and the Humble, so it's
Hmm.
Mo and then Lauda and the Humble. And then the lead singer of that band is a guy named Jordan Kiola, who's just a phenomenal singer, songwriter, musician. And I've been chatting with him a little bit on Facebook, and I saw his solo project at a local theater called the Ardmore Music Hall, and was just blown away. So much so, Al, that the next day I wrote a song. Like, I wrote a song inspired by his song. It was just a lightning bolt moment. So for anyone out there, yeah, Mo Lauda and the Humble, and then the solo project is Kiola, Caiola. Phenomenal.
That's great. I'm glad that you're out there checking out your local artists too, because I'm sure once you get out there, they're going to be checking you out too.
You got to do that, man. You got to support. I mean, us indie bands, I believe they're still an indie band. I believe they still remained independent, I think. And they're just so incredibly good. But for me, honestly, I want to go see people and learn and grow. And hey, how are you doing things? And how are you playing this? And just, what do you do with the different runs and the arrangement? We all want to learn from each other. Every song written is borrowed from some other song. You just don't know
it. True. As I tell everybody, musicians and upcoming musicians, is a big thing is shut up and listen. You'll learn a lot.
100%. And I've done that. I've shut up and listened.
Yeah. It's hard to do sometimes. I mean, you sometimes want to be the pack.
I know. There's the excitement. I know there's the excitement. I tell people all the time, when you first want to start this endeavor, every song you write is the best song in the world. Every song is a hit. Every song is your baby. And then, reality hits at some point, and you just kind of calm down a little bit and just come down, back down to earth,
It kind of slaps you upside the head a little bit there.
Oh, of course.
That's great. So, I'm glad there's a great scene out there in Philly, and it seems to be happening around the country and actually all over the world. I'm talking the European acts and stuff. Things are a little different around the world in the European nations and stuff, but they're still kicking butt just like you are and stuff. Now, I see you are doing quite well with your fans and the followers.
Yeah, we have been growing, slowly but surely. I mean, I do my best to stay relevant and, try to put up content that has some value that someone would want to maybe like or follow or listen to. I do my best. Brian, man, you're doing the same thing I'm doing, man. We're trying to compete for 5 to 8 seconds of time for whoever sees our stuff on Facebook, and it's a lot of time and effort, and we do it because we love it. I just love it. I love interacting with people, so we're doing the best we can. I wish we were going faster, but we're growing right now at a nice clip right now, so I'm happy about that.
Well, I think so too. Now, what do you think about nowadays with these platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all this stuff, and being able to put your music out on them for free pretty much, and you can sell them digitally? Well, we didn't have that 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that can kind of hide behind the fact that, this is how it's been since I've put out music. But if you talk to a lot of the people that, were back in the distribution days and the physical distribution of albums and tapes and CDs and all those things, they're not big fans of the streaming services. And certainly this is not the forum to get into a whole debate about streaming services. But for someone like me, that's all I got, man. I mean, I have Spotify on my phone and I'm religious with it. And all my favorite people in the world are in my Spotify account. I save everything. And that's what I use. That's the world I live in. I remember as a kid buying vinyl and, all that stuff. And it's coming back, I guess, but it's just, this is the world we live in right now, brother. And we gotta adapt and do the best we can.
We do. I'm still waiting for 8 tracks to come back. I still have my player.
Do you really?
You got to wish upon a star, I guess.
What's funny is I remember, and I can't remember to this day, but like you always remember like on an 8-track tape when it flipped, and it was always at a weird point in the song. It wasn't necessarily at the end of a song. No. It was in a strange spot. It would then flip.
Crunch. Yeah. You knew when it flipped.
I remember those days.
Boy, so, okay, I'm going to jump to the other side of the page here. Now, you've been getting a lot of publicity, and I'm loving that, brother. You are all over the radio. You're getting press releases. Let's give some shout outs to some of these radio stations you've been talking to. Like, there's Country Thunder, Australia.
Oh my gosh! Honestly, we're so fortunate. I have a radio promoter, a couple different radio promoters that I use for different areas and different genres, and we are so fortunate. There are literally 1,000. I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly because it changes week to week, but I don't know. Maybe we're up to 1,200, maybe 1,400 stations around the world, which is, a drop in the bucket for now, but it's growing and growing. We've been very fortunate to get attention from Country Thunder and radio stations like Indies with Marky and Plug In Baby and Banks Radio Australia. I mean, all these people have been playing our things for so long, and now we're getting a lot more play overseas. A matter of fact, I just learned the other day that our latest release, Beautiful Day, just climbed to number 7 in a European, small indie music chart. So we're number 7 right now, and we're really happy about that. And it's all about the radio play and getting exposure and doing the best you can to be heard. As musicians, there's one thing we all want to do, absolutely only one thing, and you know what it is, right? It's just to be heard.
Just to be heard. We want to get our music out there. We want to put a smile on your face and make your heart glow.
Yep. You want your podcast, you want it to be heard. I want my music to be heard. So we're all doing the same thing, brother.
Exactly. And that's what I love about us musicians stuff. We do stick together. We help each other out. And even us that don't kind of get along with each other, we're still there for each other. It's about
you have to. Yeah, you have to. And I'll say this, there's a lot of bands, I support a lot of bands and a lot of bands that support me on Facebook. Our genres are very, very different. And that's always kind of like a fine line. Like, do you have to absolutely love the genre to support the band? And I would say, no, maybe it's not something that I go out and listen to all the time, but anyone burning for their craft, whatever that is, I got nothing but love for you. I do. It may not be something that I play every day or share with friends, but damn it, I'm going to do my best to support you because you're burning for your craft. And exactly. I appreciate you and respect you.
Yeah, and that's why I've been doing the show for so long. It's, once I stopped playing music in '97, it was about, okay, I got to help out the other bands get their foot in the door. So that's when I started to become a TV producer and do the TV show and now podcasting.
Yeah, right on.
So, yeah, I mean, I love playing my guitar and stuff like that, but I don't need to be on stage anymore. It's about you guys and all the other artists and stuff. And I love that. I love getting you on the stage and stuff. So you got your music going everywhere, but is it going to Nashville? Come on.
What do you mean? What do you mean going to Nashville? What do you mean?
Are you sending any songs to Nashville to any producers?
So there has been a couple of different. We've had discussions with a couple of different folks, but nothing yet. My producer right now is in Ohio. There's been a couple of different labels, smaller labels that have. We kind of flirted around a little bit, but no, nothing like that yet. No.
Okay. Because your music is that good,
Well, thank you for that. I will say one of my radio producers actually has an office in Jacksonville, Florida, but also in Nashville. It's music and film. A gentleman named Stephen Wrench. He's one of my music producers or one of my radio promoters. So, matter of fact, I was supposed to go to Nashville for business in a couple of weeks. And it just got canceled. I was going to try to meet Steven at his office in Nashville, but it just got canceled. So that kind of stinks. But
it does.
So I was getting close.
Oh, you're that close, and
I was getting close.
Oh, brother. Well, I would have told you to hook up with a couple people myself too.
No, you probably would have. Yes.
Yes, I would. And I'm not gonna forget about your music, Michael. I'm gonna probably take that and run with it a few places. So,
Thank you.
On with that. So you got some write-ups on magazines, Right Away magazine, it looks like.
Yeah, a really great editor, Jane Shields. She actually found my stuff from the beginning and just, said, hey, I'd love to do a little article on you. And she did a couple of them. I think we were in, October or maybe September and November of 2022. We were in 2 different publications. So, yeah, it was very kind of her to do that.
Oh, that's great. I love that these, internet radios and these independent publications are doing this for the, the national and local artists, the original artists. It's great that they're all over the world and they're picking everybody up. I'm loving this.
Yeah, and absolutely. And even when you look at, like I was saying, we charted at number 7 on that indie European music chart. And when you look at, where the bands are from, there's different flags all over the place. It's really interesting to see how, you're competing with artists from all over the place. So it's just kind of fun and exciting and to see what different countries you're up against and, where my American flag showed up at number 7. I was so happy about that. And
that's
so, cool. Yeah, it's really fun. It's getting the world's getting smaller, I guess,
There you go. Right. Exactly. Now you charted 7 there in Europe, but you've also charted number 1 a couple of times out there in Radio India Alliance.
Yeah, we were fortunate, to do a couple different. There's an indie radio chart called the Indie Radio Alliance, just like you said, and it's run out of a couple different countries, and I think one in Spain, and I forget one in Italy, maybe. Yeah, we charted at number 1 for a couple different times, which was really cool, really fun to see and neat to see. And then my good friend Isaac Banks from Banks Radio Australia, we charted a couple times on a few of his publications, and then this one in Europe, and then another one, World Music Chart, and then a Brian's Rock and Roll Radio, a couple other different things. So yeah, it's just nice to get a little bit of recognition. It really is. It's really nice to see.
You're doing it the right way, brother. Unbelievable.
No, thank you.
All you artists out there that are up and coming and listening, you can learn a little bit by listening to these podcasts of the artists that that have been around, that are restarted or started or doing it for a long time, like Michael here. How he's doing it. Yeah, you can learn quite a bit, like I said, if you just listen. So, Michael here, you're doing some terrific stuff here. Now, I want to talk about, you did something with the radio station WDNF out of Philly.
Yeah, so Jim, my buddy Jim. So he was one of the first stations to play my music back in 21, maybe. I can't even remember when it was. But yeah, he put us on the Hot 50 list for that summer, and I was so excited and so appreciative. And I think it was my first song, New Rising Sun, I believe. I think it was that long ago.
Incredible.
It's good to get some local recognition, being from here in Philly. I just love that. It was wonderful.
Well, yeah, be able to turn your local radio station here blaring out. That's awesome. You can't beat that.
Yeah, it was great.
At all. So that is awesome. Now, what do you like? I notice most of the artists that I work with and stuff, they're independent artists, and that's the way they want to stay. Most of them don't even want to go near a label. Where would you like to stay, or where would you like to head to?
Boy, that's a big question. When I first started this, I didn't know what I was doing. I just, like I said before, I had things in my head, something to say, and had the time to say it, right? And I remember when I first met my producer, Bob Beals, he was like, look, before we start this, what do you want to do? Like, what are your goals? And I told him straight up, and he'd tell you this if he spoke to you. I told him, I said, I just want to make listenable music. And I had this line in my head, listenable music. And what I meant by that was just something that people would want to hear, something that had good production quality. It's got to be produced to a certain level. It's got to be professionally done, I felt. It's got to tell a story. I just wanted to make listenable music. And then all of a sudden, some people started listening, and some people started giving us some really kind accolades, and, kind of things just started progressing. And then the radio stations kind of picked it up, and I thought, well, maybe the stakes have changed a little bit here. maybe things have changed. So, I told Bob, I said, look, my first and foremost, obviously I have a career, I have, a whole life and all that stuff. And this is, something
Right.
I do on the side, but I just want to make sure it's fun at all times. And I don't want it to get too busy, too business oriented. For right now, we're putting out a song every 3 months. That's our cadence. And we're going to continue having fun doing it. And out, whatever happens. If someone thinks we're good enough to do something bigger and more grand, fabulous. But I'm just going to wait for that time to come, I guess.
Well, that's great that you can do that, Michael. That you're the boss now. You can call you the shots. Like I said, you have a life and a wife and all that stuff, and you can control this situation the way you want, which is nice. Instead of
I could hide. Yeah, I could hide behind that. I don't have to pay the bills right now. So it's a very easy life for me, right? So I could easily say that. But I just, again, like I said before, we just want to be heard. So whatever gives us the chance to be heard, we're going to be interested in it. So we'll look at it that way.
Good deal. Good deal. So, oh, wow. We have talked about quite a bit, and we're not doing it yet.
Right on, man. This is great. No, I love it.
Oh, this is awesome. I appreciate you. I wish you were at the table here, or actually in the studio, so I could have you actually perform for me.
Oh, someday.
It is what it is, right? I know where you're at. I know Pennsylvania. I'll find you.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I want to get to some of your music. I want to talk about some of your songs here, and you got some incredible material, Michael. Incredible material. And everybody out there, please go to Spotify, the platforms, and look up Michael Botte Band.
Thank you.
We got to do that right.
Yeah, right on.
And hit these songs. So we're going to touch on the first song, which is climbing the charts very fast. Beautiful Day. What an amazing song.
Thank you.
That
Beautiful Day.
Touches the heart. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, man. No, honestly, I just, it's supposed to do that. I always said music's supposed to do one of three things, right? It's supposed to make you think, feel, or move. Now, preferably, music can make you do all three. But if I could get you to do at least one of those, I'll take it. So, no, thank you for that accolade, man. That's our latest release. That was released April 21st, right before Earth Day. And, man, that was written, God, when was that written? That was actually only written maybe a handful of years ago. That was kind of a newer song, but it's written about a time in my life that was 25 years ago.
Oh,
So
all right.
yeah, so it's written about, it's a song about youth and adventure and friendship. So my wife and I, and when we were younger days in our early 20s, we were living out in Madison, Wisconsin, and our best friends would get together kind of every weekend and just hop in my 1998 Subaru Forester, and we just kind of cruise the countryside, right, and just love on Mother Earth and have picnics and just explore. And there were no GPSs. We had the Gazetteer maps, and remember the Gazetteers, and you'd open up the big Gazetteer map, and, and you just go, be a kid, and it was just carefree days. So I wrote this song, Beautiful Day, all about that time. And matter of fact, when you listen to the first line of the first verse, the whippoorwills are singing out in the wind, fire up the Subaru, let's all jump in. So that's literal. That's a very literal, explanation of the first verse. So yeah,
That is
thanks for bringing that song up.
That's great. So, well, let's jump to the next one. Now, we talked about New Rising Sun. That was a newer one that you
Yeah,
did.
New Rising Sun. That was my first release that Bob and I did, and it was written probably 15 or so years ago about my wife and I trying to make a decision for the greater good to leave the desert of New Mexico, like we spoke about, and move back east. So it's all about accepting change and being adaptable to change. So that was the first song that Bob and I did, and I'll tell you just a quick story about that. So when I sent him the demo, I sent the demo in, and that's what I do with Bob. I'll send him demos and I'll record demos and just to kind of get a feel and kind of get my vision across. And Bob has this gift of taking, like, I joke, like these dirty rocks. Like I send him these dirty rocks and he puts them into these precious stones is what he does. And it's amazing how his process and how he works. So anyway, I sent him a demo. He sent me his demo, I guess, back, almost complete. And I remember my wife and I, we were listening to it, and she was like, "Oh my God, is that the same song?" I said, "Yeah, yes, it's the same song. Yes."
Who is that?
So yeah, is that you? Yeah, that's me. That's what a producer does, honey. That's what a producer does. Yeah. So yeah, that was a New Rising Sun. First song with Bob. So it's very near and dear to my heart, that one.
That is awesome. Now, I want to jump to Round to Rome because you changed it up a little bit there. I didn't expect that when I started out. You threw a little metal in there.
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh yeah. What the heck am I doing? I think I'm going back to my roots. Honestly, I mean, that's kind of where to be honest, that's kind of where I thought I was going to land when I started making music. That was one of the first songs I ever recorded. So I thought I was going to be more of like a alt rock, I don't know, modern rock, maybe a little bit, kind of artist. So that song probably was one of the first 5 songs I ever recorded. And
okay.
and it was all self-produced. I did everything myself. So there was that was not a Bob Beals produced song, and you could probably listen to it and hear the difference. But yeah, it's a little bit more rocking on that one. Yeah, I enjoyed playing that one. It was fun.
Yeah, you threw down on that one. I'm liking that. Very nice.
Thanks, bud.
Okay, now I guess we're going to jump in the past one more time on one other song, and that's The Other Side. And that's in reference to Mr. Morrison, isn't it?
Oh gosh, when I was younger, I don't know why, I just had this obsession with Jim Morrison. I just read voraciously, books about him and books that he read, and I don't know what it was. I just was fascinated by his life and his, I guess, will to deflect authority, which is probably not a good thing to live with, but he just fascinated me. So I always wanted to write like a tribute to him. So yeah, I wrote that tune, Other Side, and again, it was all self-produced, and played by me, and I put it up in a couple of groups, and yeah, a couple people really dug that one, Other Side. It's again very different from what I'm doing now, but I guess I think it's going to be in that realm, and things changed.
Things changed, yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what you've got coming up next. What kind of twist you're going to put in your newer music.
Yeah, I will say this next one. So Bob just sent me his demo back. I already sent my demo to him, and he sent me like the first draft, if you will, back just a couple days ago. Matter of fact, I listened to it today, as a matter of fact.
Right.
We changed the bass a little bit, and it's a little more. So we're trying to emulate a band that he and I both love. And if we could emulate them like 1%, I will be very happy. It's a band called Train, who has been chart-topping band for 30 years.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest music, pop rock music we've heard, country rock music we've heard in our lifetime. Matter of fact, their lead singer, Pat Monahan, same age as me, he's actually a Pennsylvania boy.
Oh.
He was born and raised up in, I believe, Erie, Pennsylvania. So I've always admired his music, and he's been in the band nonstop ever since. I think he's been the only constant the band. So this song, we're using a Train song as a reference song. And being a musician, you typically would use like a reference song of something that you're kind of trying to hit. So we used the Train song as our reference song, and he just sent me back the demo. And I tell you what, we are definitely going down that road. And like I said, if we could emulate 1% of Train, we're doing it right. Yeah, but this is a little bit slower. The BPMs are a lot slower, a little more acoustic, singer-songwriter. Lyrically, it's very, very personal and very vulnerable for me. So this is a song I wrote 20 plus years ago, and not many people have ever heard this song. So this was a big leap for me, Al, to kind of want to put this one out. But I needed like that slower singer-songwriter song. I don't have that yet. So it was just the time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's cool. Like Beautiful Day and the other side, Roam to Roam. You're mixing it up, but you're nailing it. You're really nailing it on the head with all your songs.
Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I'm trying, man.
Oh, dude, you're doing an awesome job. Now, I want to jump off the hook just a little bit because we're at 40 minutes right now. Boy, how time flies when you're having fun.
This is a blast, man. Keep going.
All right. Well, this Songbird 360, the story behind the song. Talk to me about this project.
Yeah, that is, I think, 48 hours old, maybe. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, it's pretty new. So, I was just, I like to scroll through Facebook, and like we said before, support other bands. And, one thing for me, whenever I put my music out there, I always feel like I owe the audience a little bit of a direction on what the song is, what it's about a little bit, maybe the genre, because again, I'm trying to compete, excuse me, for 5 to 8 seconds of someone scrolling through Facebook. So I feel like if I give them a little bit of information, they may want to come and, find me. And also, if it's not for them, they'll go somewhere else, and that's okay. So I try to put like a little bit of the story and a little bit about the song. So I was just thinking to myself, would it be nice to just, put together a bit of a platform for people to not only share the songs that they know and love, but also the story behind the song. And I think that's something that we don't typically do. So, the first day was like 250 members, and I got to probably promote it a little bit, more, but just to hear these stories of these songs out. I mean, it's amazing. And you're like, it's very vulnerable because you're allowing people into your heart and soul, right? It's open heart surgery, right? When you tell people what this song meant to you at the moment in time that you wrote it, it's very vulnerable. But I will tell you, the stories are phenomenal. So I'm really trying to make that grow.
Keep that growing because, like I say, it is amazing the stories behind this song. Most people don't know 90% of the stories, I'm sure. Like your song, my songs, anybody's song. We can go pretty deep on what we say, and we can go around it where people pretty much don't understand what we're saying sometimes. But it's great that you, with your music, it's very inspiring, very informational, and it's just beautiful and great. I love it, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're trying to put something out there. We're trying.
Great. Now, I got a couple of other questions. Now, I know you're not playing out yet, but I'm going to ask you this question anyways. All right. Someday you're going to play out. I know you're going to be playing out. One show that you want to do, who would you want to open up for or play with? What's that one group or person you'd want to jam with?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so I get to pick anybody?
Anybody.
Can I do one who's with us and then maybe one who's not with us? Can I do two?
You can do two, maybe three.
Okay, fair enough. So my favorite musician of all time, unfortunately, just left us a couple months ago. Was with him just forever. He was a gentleman named David Crosby, who you probably know from Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and Crosby and Nash. He was just my favorite musician of all time. So what I wouldn't give to try to sing just a two-part harmony with Mr. David Crosby, somewhere like, out in the woods, somewhere, out in California somewhere, where by his ranch, in like, Central California. And so that's unfortunate, but I've seen him a bunch and, the CSN over the years. And so I guess that would be a wish. But, I guess more contemporary. Oh my gosh. I mean, we mentioned Train, obviously, but maybe I'll let the Train die a little bit because we mentioned them, how much I just music. So there's an artist right now. So there is an artist that actually David Crosby, as a matter of fact, he introduced me, not literally, but he introduced me to her on Twitter. It was, I follow David on Twitter. It's a singer-songwriter out of Texas named Sarah Jarosz.
Sarah Gross.
And it's
Okay.
funny when you say her name, I guess I never heard of her. She's a multi Grammy Award winning singer songwriter who's just her songwriting is just so phenomenal. Her musicianship, her guitar playing is incendiary, and I've really dug into her catalog. So my lord, if she'd let me play one song ahead of her set, I would just be so appreciative. Sarah Jaros, I mean, she's remarkable, remarkable.
Well, hopefully that will happen and we can make that happen. Again, people, check Michael Botte band out there, Botte band on all the platforms. Check out the music. You're going to fall in love with Michael. Now, can they buy your music digitally or what can we do here?
It's all on the streaming services. Most people can buy it that way, or if you just have unlimited, like most people have, it's just all on the streaming services. So whatever plan you have, you could find it.
Great, great. And like I told Michael, look out for Michael's songs. It'll be coming up in our next episode here in the next 24 to 48 hours. I keep my eyes open, and we will be playing his music. Great music. Oh, this is good. I can't wait to do this, Michael. And we are going to have you back on the show 6 months to a year. I want to see what you're doing.
Dude, I would love to. No, please bring me back. This is wonderful. You know how to run a show, man. You know what you're doing. I would love to come back.
Oh, I enjoy this most definitely, and you know what you're doing, my friend. Yes, you do. And people
I'm
are
learning
going to
more and
see
more
that.
every day. I'm learning more and more every day.
You never stop, do you?
No, never, never, never. You can teach an old dog new tricks. I'm proof. You could teach an old dog new tricks.
There you go. I guess I'm proof of that too. But since we're kind of old dogs here, you got any advice to the youngins coming up? Because there's some young kids out there that are ripping it up. They can play.
Yeah, there are some folks that are just ridiculously talented, and I will say, unfortunately, and this may be polarizing, but I would say, unfortunately, talent doesn't always win. You got
No.
to know how to network and talk to people and learn and get people to know you, like you, trust you, and you'll be surprised how much farther you can kind of get. I wish it were all a talent contest. If it were, I wouldn't be here, but it's
Right.
not.
You're right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not that way. And also, at the beginning, at least for me, I was so excited just to just run and record everything and just throw everything in the universe and just throw everything out there and see what would happen. And you got to just kind of slow down a little bit, learn from others. And I think for me, before I met my producer, again, I was very proud of my outputs. They were respectable. But until I got a professional producer who knows how to make my vision reality, I would never be, anywhere like where I am today. So that worked for me.
Great.
That's my
And
advice.
good. Thank you. A good way to put it there. And it's different when you put your music in the producer's hand to check it out and have them hear it and let them tell you what they hear and let them change it around just a little bit and highlight it for you.
Yeah, it's
It's
amazing. When my producer does, he always tells me it's funny when I send him a demo, and he jokes. And I've said this in other interviews. He saw it and joked a little bit. He goes completely quiet for like weeks and weeks, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did the file get stuck? Was it too big? Like, oh my God, what's going on? He has to sit just by himself and wait for the song to tell him what it needs. And I know that sounds a little maybe corny or cliche, but it's amazing. He just has to just sit and let that marinate. And
that's
being that he's been around music for decades, he just knows what the song needs, and he's hit it every single time. And this next one, unbelievable what he's done with this next number we're coming out with in July. It's called My Way.
uh,
Unbelievable what he did with this one.
keep an eye out for the new one coming out. My Way, you say? Okay. Bob Beals, props to you, my friend. Michael Botte, man. Michael, thank you for coming to No Cover TV Table today. I appreciate it, my friend.
Big Al, my friend, we've been waiting for this for weeks. I'm happy we did it, and I cannot wait to do this again, my friend.
Well, thank you, my friend. Again, everybody, thank you for stopping by the No Cover TV podcast. Get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of me. I don't need to tell you. Just look up No Cover TV on Facebook or just find me, okay? And definitely check out Michael Botte Band on all the platforms. Check out all the previous shows, the future shows. Check out your local and national music scene. It's all about the original music, people. Michael, we got a minute. It's yours. Take us out. What do you got to say to everybody?
First of all, like I said the other day on Facebook, I am just so grateful for the love and light and support. I mean, people, they can go and support a lot of different people, but I get that 5 to 8 seconds sometimes on Facebook when people pay attention to me, and I'm so appreciative that we put out a product worthy of some people's attention. So thank you.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you. We're going to wrap up the show. Again, everybody, thank you for stopping by the No Cover TV podcast. Check out Michael Botte Band out there. Go to Spotify, all the platforms. You are going to be very surprised at what you're going to hear, folks. Thank you, Michael. I will talk to you very soon, brother. All right?
Thank you, brother. Have a good day, man.
You too. We're out of here. Peace, brother.
Peace, mother. Peace.